Welcome back to Safari with Elpida, where we use the arts of storytelling to spread hope by building, educating, empowering, training, and providing safe spaces for healing. We are still in the Women's Month, and today we're going to be celebrating in a wonderful way because I have a fellow sister in the house, Amini Bonane. Welcome so much, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited for Women's Day. I'm just so excited for us.
Yes. And I've literally had this flag here with me because I was like, yeah, Mona Boka Koti. I just had to give you a shout out. She's a fellow sister. We're from the same country, but that doesn't really matter. We celebrate women everywhere. So Amini, for those who do not know you, can you please tell us a bit more about yourself?
Yeah, thank you so much for even having me. Hello, listeners. My name is Amini Bonane, and I am a proud fellow finalist with my sister queen for the 2023 edition of Miss Africa USA. My platform is called From Reactive to Proactive because I really want to change the image and the sentiment around the narrative about our country and Africa overall. And so I'm really somebody who is taking my experience as a community organizer, a social entrepreneur, and an advocate, and like the accumulation of all my experiences to really take advantage of every opportunity that this pageant will give my sister queen and I. And so I'm so excited to be here, and I'm just fired up for women. And yeah, I'm ready to go.
So what can you share with us about your background? Who is Amini? How is it growing up? Where are you from, originally born and raised? Can you give us a little bit more about you?
Oh, you want to go all the way back? Okay.
Yes. We want to dig in just a bit more.
I love it. And let me know if you lose me because this connection is a little shaky. But yeah, so I was born in Kinshasa. My family moved to the United States. I say move very loosely because, of course, the war is what forced us to leave our home and everything that we knew. And so we started a new life as refugees in a country that we'd never been before, didn't speak the language, didn't speak the culture. And so it was very hard for me growing up because, first of all, not only did nobody look like me, but like I didn't understand what was going on and having to kind of survive in a way that isolated me from all my peers. But growing up is where I really realized that this is like the beginning and the culmination of where I started growing my skills as that community bridge builder that I am today, right? Because I had to advocate for myself. That led me to create spaces like my nonprofit that I founded called Brains and Beauty for other women of color who also face the same challenges. Maybe it might not be as extreme as being a refugee in political asylum, but even moving to a new place and not knowing anyone, or pursuing a new career and not having the structure and guidance that you usually get when like your family comes from a certain background. And so I really spent the last 10 years of my life just creating spaces for other people and becoming the woman that I needed when I was younger. And so I settled in Washington, right outside of Washington, D.C. in a town called Fairfax, Virginia, which is located in Northern Virginia. I got my associate's degree from the only junior college in Virginia in business administration. And then in my undergraduate at George Mason, I studied finance, philosophy, and law. And now I'm wrapping up a master's degree and political leadership credential from Harvard University. And then if I have time, maybe I'll continue my education. But I think that may be a good place to apply.
She's like, can I have time? Hopefully you have time. I think you have great things that you're working on and a great drive to you. But I just wanted to ask, how old were you when you came to this country? And you did on the transition, but how was that like for you personally? And the culture is totally different. What's that person for you?
Yeah, so I have a unique lens because I feel like I have the first gen experience, even though I was born in Congo, because I was only a toddler when I came to the United States. And so like I grew up in the school systems, but again, when you grow up in like a sheltered environment and you're not really allowed to go out and explore the world, like the culture when you're at home is completely different when you leave and go out into the world. And so I think it was just it was just something that I feel like I had to go through to be able to understand and communicate for other people going through the same thing. And it didn't really like I never really put like made the connection until like recently. I want to say maybe 2 years ago when I was preparing to give my second TED Talk. And because when you're young, you don't realize that like all the things you go through are to build upon like your story. And so like I was just noticing like, why do I always feel out of place? Why do I always feel like I can't fit in here? Or maybe if I try something, it's like I know that I'm supposed to be in this space, and then imposter syndrome takes over. And so my life really is just a culmination of all the experiences that I was supposed to have to become the woman that I'm trying to be. And so I'm really grateful for this opportunity to talk and just build community, because I know I'm not alone on this journey.
Yeah, and talk to us a bit more then about your organization. And you did touch a bit about that, Brains Density, and then you also have a jewelry line. So what about that conception? How has that been like growing such a business and then an organization at the same time while you're still studying and all of that?
I work full time. School is honestly on the back burner for now until I'm able to save up enough, but I will definitely resume next semester. So which one do you want to talk about, Brains and Beauty or Enchi J-Co?
Either one you want to start with.
Okay. All right, I guess we can go by timeline, because I started Brains and Beauty, which is an empowerment organization I created in 2018. And then I kind of also started Enchi J-Co, my jewelry line, in 2018 as well, only because I am really passionate about girls' education in general and empowerment. And so literally every single penny that I make from my jewelry line goes to the Malaika School. Have you heard of the Malaika School in Congo?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so it's a wonderful girls' education founded by a model named Noella. And she literally went back home. She's Congolese like us, and built a school from the ground and literally sustains it like out of her own efforts. And it's just such an important education, because I'm sure that girls from our country, in our culture, we're just expected to go to school, get married, and that's it, right? And so I'm really always keen to support any way that I can opportunities for girls, to rise up, get their education, and become whatever they want to be. And so that's also the foundation of why I created Brains and Beauty, and why our mission statement is to define and refine yourself first, regardless of society's definition of who you should be. And the way that we execute that is through service projects that we complete with our partnership with a domestic violence shelter called Doorways for Women. We also do mentorship with each other. So each member of the organization gets like a peer-to-peer mentor, and we call them honeybee hive pairings. And it's really cute because when you go to college, you don't really have that opportunity to meet other like-minded women unless like you go out of your way, to find them. And so Brains and Beauty is really like an incubator for you to kind of launch into whatever you want to do. And then the last of our 3 pillars is leadership, and we execute that by hosting an annual brunch, a Madam President's brunch in the fall, just because again, being a change maker is, a lot of people don't realize it's a lonely experience. And so whenever I have the opportunity to just meet with women who are on that same path, like I am so overjoyed, because we don't only the girls that get it, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So Brains and Beauty is just a vessel for that. And also that's why I do pageantry. And that's why I competed for my very first pageant, Miss RD Congo USA 2018. And I'm culminating, ending that journey with Miss Africa USA this year because, again, these kind of opportunities, like once they come, it's like a once in a lifetime opportunity. So I always encourage people to take advantage, just like you and I are right now.
Oh, thank you so much for telling us all of that. I also know that you have a tech talk that you've done. I don't know how many tech talks you've done, but the one
only 2. Don't worry.
I'm like, maybe she's done 10. You know.
No. The first one doesn't count. It was my first time public speaking, and I wish I could erase it off the internet. But you only grow if you do. So.
Yeah, that's so true. So how was that experience like for you?
Yeah, so I guess I can start with the first one. So the first TED Talk I gave was also in 2018. I don't know if you noticed, but like a lot of my timeline starts in 2018 because that was my hashtag Jordan year. And I feel like 2023 is also a Jordan year, but for everybody because it's 2023. And it was just my year, and Jordan year as in Michael Jordan, of course. But yeah, in 2018, after I just overcame a really terrible time in my life, I was able to find like the tools through faith and like just surrounding myself with people who believed in me, but also creating the spaces for other people to believe in each other. And then I decided to tell my story because, with mental health, it's not always a journey that a lot of people are willing to go on with you because, everyone likes to put on a face like they're okay. And then I decided that I cannot, continue without at least trying. And I really needed to start my journey of vulnerability because I realized that there's strength in vulnerability. And so putting myself out there is how I went about applying for a TEDx salon, which is like a mini TED Talk. Just so I can have, that experience so that later on I can build upon that and lose the nerves that comes with, talking in front of an audience. And so fast forward to last year, I think is when I had my last TED Talk. I had the opportunity to go to an actual TED conference and be like an actual featured speaker only because I put myself out there that first time, even though I was so scared, so nervous, even though I was still scared and still nervous. I use that fear to kind of motivate me and do it anyways, right? And so with the 3 pillars to happiness TED Talk, it really was just talking about my experience as a pageant girl, as a founder of Brains and Beauty, and the 3 pillars of happiness are really the 3 pillars of my organization, Brains and Beauty, right? So service, mentorship, and leadership, because again, tying back into that mental health journey, those are the things that I keep seeing, okay, what has been the thing that on those days where I just can't, gets me out of bed, or what are the things that I have seen myself and witnessed for so many others, really just reignites that light that this world as Black women tries to just snuff out from us. And so I was so grateful for that opportunity because now I feel like I'm staying true to myself by continuing to tell my story despite all the stigma and backlash you usually get when you're proud of being perfectly imperfect, right? And I can just go on and on about the labels and stereotypes and pressures that we have on us on Black women, but again, we're not here all day. I only have 10 more minutes.
So you talked to us a bit about you participating in Miss DR Congo.
Yes, Miss RD Congo USA.
Yes. Can you tell us a bit more about your other pageant journeys and how you do pageantry?
Yes, thank you. I just got a notification, but I really wanted to connect back to my roots, right? So when you come to this country, you're expected to assimilate and forget and blend in and be an American, and that's it. But guess what? I'm an American, but I'm also a Congolese American, and I was born in Kinshasa. So I wanted a way to reconnect with my roots, and what other better way to do that than to be proudly parading where I come from at a pageant. And so I signed up for that, never did a pageant before. And honestly, that's where I learned like the one-on-one basics of pageantry, right? And it's similar to a political campaign where you are really needing to hone in on like your public speaking skills, your fundraising skills, and your ability to just deliver under pressure. And again, just like with my first TED Talk experience, my first pageant experience is really like the incubator that molded me into the woman that I'm trying to become and the woman that I am today. And so I'm really grateful for that experience. I met one of my very dearest friends. Her name is Ruth. You'll probably meet her at the pageant. And yeah, just connecting with fellow Congolese, because there's not a lot of us there. Like everybody's either Nigerian or
That's so true.
Yeah, so that was another opportunity, just really bonding with Bosel. So I was really happy to do that. And then what other pageants? Hello, Miss Black DC.
Yes.
Yeah, so after Miss RD Congo USA, I took like time off, 2 years maybe.
Well, first runner up in that, please mention that, because I don't want people to miss that.
Yeah, took time off. And then in 2019, I was crowned Miss Black DC USA. And honestly, that also was just like, you know, like those milestones you get to and like your level of on your growth journey. That was definitely like that next level, because that is where I learned like media training and how to really leverage the title to get the word out about my platform. And when I tell you my platform became a national campaign, like it became a national campaign. And like as soon as I put the word out there, I was getting calls for interviews, to get on TV, to do radio shows, and with every opportunity, I would plug back in. Here's Brains and Beauty. I would plug back in. Here's what's going on with Black women, and then of course talking about what was happening at the time. And you know, in 2020, with the height of the Black Lives Matter movement, that was such a time where the world was actually paying attention to what Black women had to say. And so I was really grateful to kind of leverage that, because a lot of the times, you know, we talk and we have these great things to say, but unless people care, like the word doesn't get out, you know. And so that couldn't have been more perfect timing. And I was so grateful for Chesley, may God rest her soul, the former Miss USA, because of her winning, and Zosvini, the beautiful Zosvini, it kind of trickled down, because those headlines of like all 3 pageant winners are Black women, and then it would trickle down to my level. Ms. Blackie C, here's what she has to say. And so that's what I really, really want to emphasize. If anyone takes anything away from this call, is the power of sisterhood, right? And like how much your actions can have the effect on that future generation. And you never know who you're going to be helping by sharing your story, by being courageous and putting yourself out there. Even if you win, even if you don't win. I did Miss Black USA. I didn't win, even though I did win all the awards that they got. Humble brag. But my journey at that time was to be Miss Black DC USA. And so I'm taking that experience and utilizing the skills, the knowledge, the contacts that I got, and applying that to Miss Africa USA. And I'm really excited because it's kind of like my last hurrah. I will be retiring from pageantry after this pageant. And so I'm really excited just to like learn and grow. And of course, you know, the whole point is just leaning into the sisterhood. The sisterhood is why I competed in my first pageant, and the sisterhood is why I'm ending with this as my last pageant. So yeah.
I think just because of time, can you tell us a bit more about your platform in Miss Africa USA and why that is?
Yes, thank you so much for this opportunity, because my platform is the only reason why I'm competing besides sisterhood. So my platform is part humanitarian and part environmental. It's called From Reactive to Proactive, and I have a twofold plan to execute my platform. In fact, I've already started that plan as a delegate, because again, to make the level of difference that I am trying to make, you don't wait until the crowning night to start the work. Like as soon as I was delegated as a finalist for Miss Africa USA, I started formulating that plan, right? So phase 1 of my plan is gathering as many petition signatures as I can, which please plug. change.org/fund the GVO to petition the World Bank to just restore funding to areas needed of just care. And I spent the first half of like my pageant journey really doing the research and seeing what exactly is going on. Why is a governmental institution that's supposed to be saving lives lacking the most basic resources, right? And this isn't like a thing that I started just now. I actually, the last time I went back home was in 2015 when I visited Bukavu and Goma. And I made a promise to them that I would come back if I ever had the opportunity to just spread awareness, because a lot of the times people don't know until like it gets bad, right? And so guess what happened between 2015 and now? There was an eruption and even more people were displaced and even more resources that could have been allocated disappeared in thin air. And so as Miss Africa USA, I'm going to leverage that title to again do exactly what I did when I was in Black DC, to get that media attention, to leverage the power of the crown, really to just shine the light and keep that light shining. Because a lot of the times, and the reason why I chose a humanitarian platform is because after the disaster happens, you know, there's that peak of like, oh my gosh, what should happen? And then everyone's like, all right, next thing, especially with, you know, the America media cycle. And so I want to shine that light back on, because hello, the volcano's not going anywhere, but the people still need resources and the people still need help. And that's why I named my platform from reactive to proactive, because it's going to erupt again someday. But instead of waiting around, we need to take action now by, first of all, talking to the authorities. Second of all, talking to the people and empowering them to empower themselves first. And as Miss Africa USA, I've already located 4 partners that I will be working with to kind of do what I can do, but at the same time, holding the officials accountable for what they're supposed to be doing. So it's a little ambitious, but at the same time, if your goals don't scare you and your dreams don't scare you, why even bother?
That's amazing. That's amazing. So what does it mean to be a woman to you? What does it mean being a woman?
Yes. What does it mean being a woman? Thank you so much for this question, because actually for my talent, I recited Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou, because being a woman is so politicized. Because on top of this label, do you first go as a woman, or do you first go as a Black woman, or do you first go as a Congolese American Black woman, right? So there's so many layers to that in my just journey into womanhood, I just didn't understand, right? So let's go back to adolescence. I did not really have the greatest experience growing up, because I would see these labels and stereotypes being put on me just because I looked a certain way, just because my measurements were a certain way, where I would get so frustrated, because it's like, how are you already putting all these preconceived notions and you don't even know me? And then that's when you discover the concept of things like colorism, things like over-sexualization, what else? Adultification. And those are some of the things that I touched on in the beginning of my TED Talk, because it was such a frustrating period of time for me, not knowing the why things happening. And that's why it's so important, and why I support girls' education so much, because now that I'm able to put a label on these things, I can define them and also help other women to know that, hey, some of the things that you're going through, they're not normal, and you actually have another option instead of accepting these labels. And again, going back to why I started Brains and Beauty, allowing you to define and refine yourself first, regardless of society's definition of who you should be, is really what makes you a woman. Because at the end of the day, in the patriarchal society that we live in, all these factors are working so that you forget who you are. And so to me, being a woman is knowing who you are and being unapologetic about it, and stop taking responsibility for other people's like feelings of inadequacy, right? Because especially as Black women, especially as African, especially as Congolese women, we are celebrated for being self-sacrificial, right? And that also comes with religion when, religion comes into play. But I think my grand awakening and my walking into womanhood was remembering that my Creator made me for a reason, just the way that I am. And it is not, it goes against everything He created me to be, to start, watering myself down for the comfort of other people. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
So in the same line of that, because I think it's very important to make sure, like when you talk about watering yourself for other people's comfort, what advice would you give any young woman, man, boy, teenager, anybody who's listening to us right now? What word of advice would you leave with them, or word of encouragement would you leave with them?
The pain is temporary. Don't give up hope. Because I know in my darkest hours, like darkest hours, when I had no answers besides a permanent solution to a temporary problem, the only reason why I'm still here giving this interview with you today is because I understand that no matter what happens, it will pass, right? And so if you're a young man, a young woman, even older people, you can have like your renaissance even or later in life. You just need to hold on to hope that whatever you're going through right now is for a purpose. You have to first, and another thing is accepting that you don't know what that purpose is, right? So when I had like my Jordan year and the Jordan year that we're all having right now because of 2023, I realized that I had to let go of control. And by letting go of control, I accepted that life isn't going to always work out the way that you think it's going to work out. And and just being okay with just not having the burden of putting the pressure of other people onto you, right? Because at the end of the day, we want what's best for us, and the people who love us want what's best for us. But sometimes, guess what? They don't know what's best for us. And sometimes, guess what? You don't know what's best for you. So it's better to just take life with a grain of salt and just approaching it with just openness and flexibility, so that no matter if things go the way that you thought they were going to go, or maybe another way, you're at peace with yourself. And being at peace with yourself is like the number one thing that you can never, ever, ever, ever let someone take away from you. Because as soon as you do, then you start letting that self-doubt and all their feelings and insecurities permeate through that shield that you put around yourself. And so I know that was a long piece of advice, but I hope you got that point.
I'm sure they did. Thank you so much. So how can people stay in touch with you? If somebody's listening, they're like, hey, I want to get
Yes. So please, everybody, support Rosette and I. Like I told her, we're winning this together. Like Congo to the world. Like we're making history. And so I actually opened up a digital diary called Journey to Miss Africa USA. And the @ is Miss Africa USA 23, because that's where I'm like keeping updates on like what I'm doing, like events that I'm going to, like how to stay in contact. So if you're on Facebook or Instagram, just type in Journey to Miss Africa USA, and that's where you'll find me.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Amini. I know we've taken so much of your time.
Please. I will always make time for you, even though I need to go.
Thank you so much. We're so grateful. Thank you to everybody who watched our session today. Share it with anybody you think needs to hear this. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. It's a goodbye from us right now. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much. Don't forget to sign the petition, change.org/fund the GVO. Thank you so much.